Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're tackling a huge question, one that's really at the heart of the entire data world. How do you actually know the data you're using is right? We're going to break down a framework for building continuous, reliable trust in your data. And spoiler alert, it goes way beyond just simple one-off checks. So let's get into it.
This quote, man, it just perfectly captures that nightmare scenario, right? You might catch a simple error, like a null value, way up at the beginning of your pipeline. But the real danger, that's the miscalculated KPI that makes it all the way to the final report. That's the trust gap we're here to talk about today.
Which brings us right to our first big topic, this hidden data trust gap. It's that treacherous space between where your raw data comes from and the final dashboards your stakeholders are relying on every single day. I'm sure this question sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it? It's that horrible sinking feeling when a leader points to a number on a screen and asks, "Hey, why is this wrong?" That one moment can totally undermine weeks of hard work and just erode confidence in the entire data team. And the reason this keeps happening is because modern data systems aren't just one thing. They're a journey with so many potential points of failure. Your data moves from ingestion to a warehouse. It goes through transformations, and then, finally, to a BI platform. An error at any one of those stops can just ripple all the way downstream. It's proof that just checking things in one spot, it's simply not enough. So, okay, how do we start to actually close this gap? Well, the first step is understanding two really distinct but connected types of validation. Now, they have similar names, analytics data testing and data analytics testing, but they focus on two completely different sides of the problem. All right, first up, we have analytics data testing. The best way to think about this is quality control on your inputs, on your ingredients, everything that happens before a dashboard is ever created. We're validating the quality, the structure, the flow of the data itself. The core question here is super simple. Is our raw material any good? And this slide here shows you exactly where this comes into play in the real world. We're talking about doing QA on your data pipelines, making sure your warehouse tables actually match back to the source systems, and verifying everything is correct before it ever gets near a BI tool. This stuff is the absolute foundation of your data trust. Now, on the complete flip side of that coin, we have data analytics testing. So if the first type was all about the input, this one is all about the output. Here, we're testing the final product, the reports, the KPIs, and the visualizations that people actually use to make decisions. And this slide really illustrates that final, crucial mile of data trust. Are the metrics in that Power BI or Tableau report calculated correctly? Do the filters actually work like they're supposed to? And critically, as you can see with that security check, are users only seeing the data they're actually authorized to see? This is all about validating the final interpretation. Okay, so having both types of testing, that's a massive step forward. But, and this is a big but, in today's fast-moving data environments, one-off checks just aren't enough. We have to evolve our thinking from these periodic checkpoints to having continuous guardrails. And this is the fundamental question we really have to ask ourselves. Data is changing constantly. Business logic is always getting updated. So, is testing something once, at a single point in time, really enough to guarantee ongoing trust? The obvious answer is a big no. And that's where this powerful analogy on the slide comes into play. Checkpoints are kind of like toll booths on a highway. They're essential, for sure, but they're reactive. They only stop errors that have already occurred. Guardrails, on the other hand, are proactive. They are those always-on safeguards lining the entire highway, preventing issues before they turn into catastrophes. So what you're seeing here is really a clear path of maturity for any data team. You start with those critical, rule-driven checkpoints, but you evolve to a much more sophisticated strategy of always-on guardrails, which gives you a continuous, proactive pulse on the health of your entire data flow.
In that evolution, it brings us to the core of this whole thing, a unified framework that ties all of these ideas together. Let's break down the 4 dimensions of data trust.
And here is the big aha moment. True, resilient data trust isn't just about testing. It's about having a system that also monitors and observes your entire data ecosystem 24/7. And here it is, the whole framework. Notice it's broken into two categories. First, you have the testing lanes, which are those two types of testing we just covered. One for the input data and one for the output analytics. But the real game changer is adding the continuous guardrails. This is where it gets really interesting. Data quality monitoring is for the problems you know to look for, enforcing specific business rules you've already defined, like checking for nulls or duplicates. But that fourth dimension, data observability, that's your safety net for the unknown unknowns. It detects unexpected issues by looking for broken patterns, like a sudden drop in data volume or a schema change that nobody told you about. So one catches what you expect to go wrong, the other catches what you never, ever saw coming.
So, the big question is, how do we bring this all together? Well, it's about unifying your strategy. Let's look at what that actually means in practice.
So why does all this matter? I mean, what's the real payoff? Well, look at the difference. Without a unified strategy, your team is stuck in this reactive loop, constantly putting out fires. But with all four dimensions in place, you become proactive guardians of data health. You're prepared for both the known and the unknown issues. That is how you build deep, lasting confidence in every single data-driven decision. And really, it all comes down to this: 4 dimensions. You've got testing lanes for what you build and continuous guardrails for what you run. It's a simple number to remember, but a profoundly powerful framework to actually implement. And that brings us to our final thought for today. Your organization's most important decisions are built on data. So the question isn't just, is the data correct right now? It's, do we have a complete 4-dimensional plan to trust our data always?
For further questions, feel free to reach contact@datagaps.com. Request a free demo, scan the QR code below. Thank you.